What was Earth like after volcanoes? Volcanic eruptions, the impact on the Earth. Volcanic eruptions are powerful forces of nature that have shaped the planet for millions of years. In recent decades, the impact of human activities, particularly climate change, has become increasingly apparent. In this video, we will be exploring the relationship between climate change and volcanic eruptions, and discussing the potential impacts of these two phenomena on the Earth and its inhabitants. So sit back, grab a notebook, and let's delve into this fascinating topic together. Volcanic eruptions are common, with more than 50 volcanic eruptions in the United States alone in the past 31 years. These eruptions can have devastating economic and social consequences, even at great distances from the volcano. Fortunately, many eruptions are preceded by unrest that can be detected using ground, airborne, and spaceborne instruments. Data from these instruments combined with basic understanding of how volcanoes work form the basic for forecasting eruptions. Where, when, how big, how long, and the consequences. Accurate forecasts of the likelihood and magnitude of an eruption in a specified time frame are rooted in a scientific understanding of the processes that govern the storage, ascent, and eruptions of magma. Yet, our understanding of volcanic systems is incomplete and biased by the limited number of volcanoes and eruption styles observed with advanced instrumentation. Volcanic eruptions and their repose, unrest, precursors, and timing identifies key science questions, research and observation priorities, and approaches for building a volcano science community capable of tackling them. This report presents goals for making major advances in volcano science. After volcanic eruptions, the Earth can be greatly affected depending on the scale and intensity of the eruption. Some possible effects include climate change. One of the most well-known effects of volcanic eruptions is their ability to alter the local and regional climate. When a large volcano erupts, it can release massive amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide gas into the atmosphere. This ash and gas can block out the sun and cause a temporary cooling of the planet, known as a volcanic winter.
So how can we get that information from great depth and high temperatures? Well, we can interrogate the witnesses of those processes. And those witnesses are the crystals that form in the deep magma plumping system and are transported with the erupting magmas to the Earth's surface.
The cooling can last for several years and have a profound impact on weather patterns and agricultural production. The impact of climate change on volcanic eruptions is still an area of active research and scientific investigation. However, there is some evidence that suggests that rising global temperatures may increase the frequency and intensity of volcanic eruptions. One possible mechanism is that warming oceans can increase the pressure on underwater volcanoes, leading to increased activity. Additionally, melting glaciers and ice sheets can reduce the weight on top of volcanoes, allowing magma to escape more easily. However, it's important to note that the relationship between climate change and volcanic activity is complex and not fully understood. There is still much research to be done to determine the exact nature of this relationship and how it may change in the future. In general, the impacts of volcanic eruptions on the Earth can be exacerbated by climate change, as the two phenomena can interact in complex and unpredictable ways. For example, large volcanic eruptions can cause temporary cooling of the planet, which can offset some of the warming caused by climate change. However, they can also release large amounts of greenhouse gases, which can contribute to long-term warming. It's also worth noting that the effects of climate change, such as more frequent and intense heat waves and changes in precipitation patterns, can have direct impacts on volcanic landscapes and communities located near active volcanoes. This underscores the importance of continued scientific research into the impacts of climate change and the need for efforts to reduce emissions and adapt to its impacts. New landscapes. The impact of climate change on new landscapes can be complex and far-reaching. In general, rising global temperatures are causing significant changes in many of the world's ecosystems and natural habitats, including those that have been shaped by volcanic activity. For example, rising sea levels caused by melting glaciers and ice sheets are causing erosions of coastal landscapes, including those that have been formed by volcanic activity. This can lead to the loss of important habitats for plants and animals and can have impacts on the communities and economies that rely on these areas. In addition, changing precipitation patterns caused by climate change can impact the growth of vegetation on volcanic landscapes. This can alter the type and distributions of plant species and have impacts on the animals that depend on those plants for food and habitat. Changing temperature patterns can also impact the stability of volcanic landscapes, as permafrost and glaciers can melt, causing changes in the distribution of rock and soil. This can increase the risk of slope instability, landslides, and other hazards, which can have impacts on communities and infrastructure in the area. Destruction of habitats. Volcanic eruptions can have a profound impact on the destructions of habitats both in the immediate vicinity of the eruption and in the surrounding areas. In the immediate aftermath of an eruption, the intense heat, ash, and lava can cause widespread destructions of habitats, killing plants and animals in the process. This can lead to significant changes in the landscape, including the creations of new land masses or the widening of existing valleys. In the longer term, volcanic eruptions can alter the chemical compositions of the soil and air, making it difficult for new species to establish themselves. The ash, rock, and other materials produced by the eruptions can also cause significant disruptions to the water cycle, leading to changes in precipitation patterns and soil moisture. In addition, volcanic eruptions can release large amounts of toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide, which can have a negative impact on both human health and the environment. For example, high concentrations of sulfur dioxide can lead to acid rain, which can harm vegetation and wildlife. To minimize the impact of volcanic eruptions on habitats, it's important to have early warning systems in place to detect the onset of an eruption and to evacuate people and wildlife from the area if necessary. It's also important to have plans in place to restore habitats and ecosystems after an eruption, including the replanting of vegetation and the introductions of new species. Impact on human settlements. Volcanic eruptions can have a profound impact on human settlements, causing widespread destructions and displacement of communities. The intense heat, ash, and lava from an eruption can cause damage to buildings and infrastructure, while the toxic gases released by the eruptions can be harmful to human health. In the immediate aftermath of an eruption, evacuations are often necessary to protect people from the dangers posed by the eruption. This can result in significant disruptions to daily life, including the loss of homes and jobs. In the longer term, volcanic eruptions can have a major impact on the local economy, as businesses and agriculture are disrupted by the ash and other materials produced by the eruption. This can lead to reduced income and increased poverty for many people in the affected areas. In addition, volcanic eruptions can have indirect impacts on human settlements, including changes in precipitation patterns, soil moisture, and water quality. These changes can have significant consequences for agriculture and food security, leading to reduced food availability and increased risk of famine in affected areas. To minimize the impact of volcanic eruptions on human settlements, it's important to have effective early warning systems in place, as well as well-coordinated evacuation and disaster response plan. It's also important to invest in resilient infrastructure and to support the recovery and reconstruction of affected communities. By taking these steps, we can help to reduce the impact of volcanic eruptions on human settlements and ensure that communities are better prepared to cope with future eruptions. In conclusion, the relationship between climate change and volcanic eruptions is an important and complex issue that requires continued scientific investigation. While there is evidence that rising global temperatures may increase the frequency and intensity of volcanic eruptions, much remains unknown about this relationship. As the impacts of climate change continue to unfold, it's important to be mindful of the potential impacts on volcanic activity and to take steps to reduce emissions and prepare for the impact that are already underway. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more informative content. If you have any questions or comments about this topic, please leave them below. And as always, stay curious and keep learning. Bye for now.